this is Walter McCormick with KISS Finance and Insurance. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video and share it to people that you have asked you this question, or if you know somebody that is running into this problem. But basically what we're going to be going over today is what is the best type of life insurance to buy. I am a licensed insurance agent and I specialize in life insurance for its many different uses and reasons people get it. So we're going to dive right into it. Hey everybody, how's it going? So we're going to dive right into this. The question is, what is the best type of life insurance to buy? So when we're talking about the best type of life insurance to buy, it's a complicated answer to a simple question. The first answer is, it depends. So a couple things that when I sit down with you and I do a needs analysis, I'll ask you always these three basic things. What do you need it for? How long do you need it? And how much do you need? Okay, so to figure out this, first thing we need to do is we need to break down these simple questions. Okay, so some examples of what you could need it for, or what you could use it for, is business, personal, funerals, or I'll put another one on here, loans, because I've been actually doing a lot of those. So let's dissect this a little bit. So business need. Let's say you are a business owner and you want to pass on your business to someone else, or like key man or business succession planning. A lot of times people use life insurance to fund this type of a transaction. Personal, one of the main things that we look at is in terms of income replacement, or as is mentioned here, funeral expenses. Or also you have in terms, this is business or personal, but loan protection. So a lot of banks sometimes will require life insurance on a business owner or on a family in order to take out a large or substantial loan. So that's some areas where you could have a need for life insurance that you didn't know. The next one is, how long do you need it for? You know, do you need, obviously for something like a loan, if you have a 20-year loan, you would need a 20-year policy. If you have a 10-year loan, 10-year policy, etc. Business succession planning, you'd be looking at more of a permanent type product. Or also for funeral final expenses, you have prepaid type of plans, or full permanent life insurance coverage. Okay? Now, how much do you need? So a good way to think of that is called dimes. I've covered this in another video. If you want, you can look at that. But you have your debt, your income, your mortgage, expenses, and then I like to call your stuff. Okay, and that's leaving on extra stuff for your further generations. But you know, how much debt do you have? What's your income? You want to cover, 10, 20 years of your income. Mortgage, that would pay off the house so your family wouldn't have to move if something happened to you. Funerals, final expenses, and then your other stuff, which is how much you want to pass on as like an inheritance or something like that. Okay, like I said, you can see that in another video. I go into that more. So if we look at what is the best type of life insurance to buy. So you basically have your three basic categories. Well, two basic categories, which is your term. Well, three basic. Your permanent, and your accident. Okay, now, I can go over the debate of, is whole life a bad purchase, or you don't need whole life insurance? I feel like you do. Everyone should have some whole life insurance, at least to cover your funeral final expenses. even if you set it up where the policy's paid off in 10 years or 20 years, that's still better than nothing. It's better than paying on a term policy and then it running out. I actually sat with a gentleman yesterday. He had a 10-year term insurance policy for $250 a month. And basically that 10 years expired and it automatically renewed. And if you aren't familiar, what happens there is his price went from $250 to $500 overnight. It doubled. Now, he was an older gentleman, so that played into it, but that's the main benefit of risk that you don't have with permanent that you do have with term. Now, accident policies, I'm very leery to put that on here because it's not necessarily a good option, but it's good to have something there. Usually, they build accident insurance into permanent insurance, and they also can build it into term insurance. So when you're looking at what is the best type of life insurance to buy, let's look at that. So let's say you have a loan. That's going to be term insurance all day long, okay? Funeral is going to be permanent insurance all day long. Those are pretty cut and dry examples. Now, business insurance. So let's say you have a key employee or a guy that you couldn't do business without, and you want to make sure that he gets a little benefit, whereas you want him to something to keep him around. You can use term insurance. It's typically not used as much, or you start off with term and then you can convert it to a permanent policy. So that's something that you can do there, where like let's say I've got, let's say I'm going to use 10 years, okay? Usually you can't get this feature unless it's 20 years, but this is just for informational and easy math. So let's say you've got Joe, and Joe makes $100,000 a year for your company, right? So once again, this is for simple math, okay? So you're going to pay for a $2 million life insurance policy, and it's going to cost you $2,000 per year, okay? So, and that's for 10 years. Now, what you could do is say, hey, Joe, I'm going to put you this policy on you. I'm going to pay for it. And basically, at the end of that 20 years, if you fulfill the contract of working with me, I will give you the amount of money that I have paid for that life insurance policy to you as a cash bonus, okay? So what would that be? For 10 years, well, let's just do a 20 year. So 20 years, okay? So 2,000 times 20 years is $40,000. So 20 years goes by and you cut him a check for $40,000. Okay? Now,